So, with Black Myth Wukong selling like 1 billion copies, people are starting to learn about the title character Son Wukong, with many pointing out his similarities to the immensely popular protagonist of Dragon Ball, Son Goku. Of course, for those of you who know Toriyama, he's always been really upfront about the fact that Son Goku is directly inspired by Wukong. The power pole, the nimbus, his monkey tail, his name, and just his constant fights are all directly taken from the character of the Monkey King. But if they were to fight, who would win? For this video, we will be using Son Wukong from the original Journey to the West novel from the 16th century, and be using current canon Goku from both the Dragon Ball Super anime and manga. While both of them have many alternate versions, I think it's best to stick with their truest selves as much as possible. Is the original Wukong still the most powerful, or has Dragon Ball's insane power scaling taken Goku to brand new heights that his inspiration could only hope to achieve? Let's find out. If you do like this kind of stuff though, please make sure to like and subscribe, and let's jump right in. As I've talked about Goku 1,000,000 times before, let's go over the scaling of Son Wukong first, especially because we have a lot to go over. For those who don't know, Son Wukong first appears in the novel known as Journey to the West that was written in China sometime during the 1500s. Yes, for reference, this book and the characters within it are literally older than George Washington. This story is frankly incredibly long and quite complicated, with the sheer number of characters that are a mix of both real and mythological figures, the poetic dialogue, and the fact that writing conventions have somewhat changed and arguably improved in the last 500 years. Still though, a majority of Wukong's scaling and feats luckily only come from the first 7 or so chapters in the story. To summarize as quickly as possible, these first few chapters tell how a monkey named Wukong gains his mystical powers and wages war against all of heaven in an attempt to become immortal. Wukong really only loses this battle due to the Buddha intervening, with Wukong then being sealed away for 500 years, and by the time he is finally unsealed, it is cleared he is not as strong as he was before. For the next 90 chapters or so, Wukong accompanies a monk on their journey to the west, and by the very end, obtains his own Buddhahood due to the trials he went through to get there. In Dragon Ball terms, this is like if the first arc, Goku defeated Frieza, then went back to the original events of Dragon Ball, and then at the very last chapter, obtained Ultra Instinct. What makes Wukong so impressive is ultimately the cosmology of Journey to the West, which provides an extremely fantastical interpretation of Buddhist mythology and faith. I do have to thank resources like the Versus Battle Wiki, who provided some really helpful explanations to some of the concepts in the story, because I'll be honest, even with going through the books, it's not easy to grasp, and I didn't know anything about Buddhism going into this story. Journey to the West, at the bare minimum, contains several universe-sized realms within its cosmology. This includes a living world, hell, heaven, and the realm of spirits. We know that each of these are likely universe-sized, as they contain everything in the cosmos from stars to planets. Just like the time chamber in Dragon Ball, some of these realms have completely independent space-times from each other that flow at different speeds, with days in one dimension equating to years within others. Regardless, at his original peak of power, Wukong's battle against the gods of heaven affected, disturbed, and dimmed both heaven and the living universe with their battle. In other words, impacting 2 universes at once. At worst, this makes Wukong around multi-solar system to galaxy level, which is consistent with many of the gods he fought being literal constellations. To further support this point, after being trapped in the 8 trigrams brazier for nearly 50 days, it's implied that Wukong's self-appointed title of equal to heaven is 100% true, meaning that he should essentially be equal to all the other gods combined, which again likely means he's anywhere from multi-solar system to universal. However, it's after this battle that Wukong is sealed by the Buddha and becomes significantly nerfed to around multi-continental level, as the strongest entities he battles at this point in the story are evil spirits who have their own multi-continental level feats. Still very strong, but nowhere near the multi-solar system level of power he was outputting before. At this point though, we do have to talk about Buddhas in the world of Journey to the West. At the bare minimum, Buddhas are beyond the universal tier, as when Wukong jumped from the edge of heaven, a universe-sized space, he had not even left the Buddha's hand. Or in other words, Buddhas can casually hold entire universes in their palm from sheer size alone. However, this is nothing. You see, within Journey to the West, it's revealed that everything in the universe is actually a continuous paradox of scale. The smallest thing, like seeds and even dust, can actually contain the largest things. Most importantly, we learn that the realm of the Buddha is actually just contained within a single grain of sand, but simultaneously is a separate space-time from the realm of desire, while the Buddha realm itself contains infinite worlds inside a single temple. This is supported by statements of there being Buddhas within every world, who each individually spread good deeds among an immeasurable amount of worlds. Extrapolating on this intentionally paradoxical idea that grains of sand contain entire multiverses with completely separate spacetimes, it may be possible that this occurs infinitely. Even if this repeating world of transcendence only happens a few times, this means the cosmology of the verse would be anywhere from high complex multiversal all the way to high hyperversal, as each Buddha realm is contained within another world that should then be transcended by another Buddha realm, essentially stacking dimensionality potentially infinitely. Even if you don't believe this is happening, even the base cosmology of Journey to the West would still be a multiverse or infinite space-times within it, or multiverse plus level. Taking all of these cosmological interpretations into account, even normal monks can scale above that entire cosmology. Regardless of what world along the chain a monk resides in, once they remove all causal relations, they could enter into a space known as the realm of no birth. This is essentially the highest pseudo-physical realm we know about for sure, which based on what it takes to go there, should be beyond the rest of the cosmology as we described, because again, they're not affected by the cause or effect of anything within the lower dimension. Despite this, the power of a Buddha is described multiple times to be boundless in comparison to everything else, which would include the monks who are within the realm of no birth. Like I alluded to before, there can be and are actually multiple Buddhas within Journey to the West, with the main Buddha being the one who originally embarrassed Wukong, known as Tathagata. However, all Buddhas should scale the same, as all of them are ultimately sharing in something known as the Dharmakaya, which is beyond the physical reality to such a degree that it does not even see the rest of reality as even existing. To quote directly, "If you perceive there's neither mind nor thing, yours is the Dharmakaya of the true mind. The Dharmakaya has no shape or form, one pearl-like radiance holding myriad things. The bodiless body is the body true. The real form is that form which has no form. There's no form, no void, no emptiness. No coming, no leaving, no parinamana, no contrast, no sameness, no being, no non-being, no giving, no taking, no hopeful craving." Why does all of this matter? Well, if you were paying attention, Sun Wukong by the end of the story obtains Buddhahood himself, meaning he scales to all of this, transcending the infinite multiverse multiple times over. I don't like throwing around the term outerversal around lightly, but given that the Buddhas and the Dharmakaya's complete transcendence of all aspects of a potential infinite chain of duality, this is the first character I've scaled who could be argued into this tier. As for hacks, even just before becoming a Buddha, Wukong's hacks are absolutely disgusting. Just for an example of this, Wukong can turn every hair in his body, which there are tens of thousands, into perfect clones of himself, all of which who can then do the same thing seemingly endlessly. He can shapeshift into 72 different forms, including becoming large enough to fill an entire universe. Wukong has also removed his name from the register of life and death, removing his ability to die as well as removing his fate. He can become invisible, is immune to soul manipulation, can sense things across multiple universes, and outright transcended the basic elements of the universe. Again, there is plenty more, but it doesn't really matter for what inherently becomes part of his toolset as a Buddha. Buddhas are essentially beings of thought and exist beyond cause and effect. They know everything and literally exist omnipresently throughout all of reality. With the Dharmakaya, Wukong both exists and doesn't exist simultaneously. There's really no way to cleanly wrap up this section. It kind of just blows my mind that a monkey from an old Chinese book can rival the power of some of the most powerful modern fictional characters. With that being said though, is it enough to beat Goku? Son Goku. I've talked about this guy a lot, and especially recently, due to my Heroes Goku video, I've been accused of lowballing his power. So today, when scaling Goku, I'm just gonna highball the crap out of him. Keep in mind, I'm purposefully misinterpreting what these feats, statements, and scans mean to make Goku as strong as humanly possible. I will never use this scaling again unless it's against another really strong character. Thankfully though, it's going to be much easier to explain than Wukong. Even as a baseline by the Namek art, characters like second form Frieza are capable of destroying the universe that is infinite in size. Goku as a Super Saiyan is not only able to easily beat stronger versions of this Frieza, but is arguably 50 times stronger as the already universal form. This means that even by the Cell Saga, Goku would be easily multiversal as he has many multipliers stronger than his Namek self. By the time of the Buu arc, Kid Buu and Buhan were capable of not only destroying the universe, but all realms found within Universe 7, which would include the Otherworld, which is stated to be a dimension that transcends the living world entirely. This would make the Otherworld at least 5-dimensional, and Goku's power, by extension, that strong for fighting both Kid Buu and Buhan. By Battle of Gods, Goku and Beerus are stated to have a super-dimensional battle, and that Beerus' power is transcendent and beyond dimensional. That means that Goku at this point is at least beyond all previously mentioned dimensions, once again putting his power in a higher dimensional tier, with Beerus being infinitely beyond even that. By the time of the Tournament of Power, with Ultra Instinct, Goku surpasses Beerus in power, meaning that he too is now beyond dimensional power entirely. This is supported by the fact that the battle against Broly is once again stated super dimensional, meaning that even without Ultra Instinct, Goku's power is within this tier. This means that by the current time in Dragon Ball Super, Goku's power is beyond spatial dimensionality, or in other words, Goku's power is beyond infinite spatial dimensions that each transcend each other by an infinite amount, putting Goku at worst at high hyperversal or at outer versal, as his power would be beyond the concept of dimensionality. Of course, following the manga, Goku continues to get stronger, able to use Ultra Instinct at will, but in that continuity, he's also still weaker than Beerus, so it's a bit less impressive either way. As for hacks, Goku is one of the most skilled martial artists in fiction, having mastered every martial art, even as a kid. This is further enhanced by Ultra Instinct, which allows him to fight perfectly without even thinking. Of course, he has ki attacks that allow him to overpower weaker hacks, destroy matter at the atomic level with blasts, and even create a Susanoo out of ki in the manga. With all this being said though, who wins this? Even when highballing Goku to the absolute extreme here, Wukong still wins. After everything I just described for Goku, that would get him about as far as the level of those base transcendent monks in Journey to the West's cosmology. They too are transcended beyond an infinite hierarchy of dimensions, and are on the lowest totem pole when it comes to even attempting to become a Buddha. There are a whole group of characters called Bodhisattvas who exist between monks and Buddhas that I didn't even cover because it makes the gap between them that more infinitely wide. Keep in mind that compared to a Buddha like Wukong, these guys literally don't even exist. Goku is also just getting out-hacked like crazy. Even if somehow Goku was equal to Wukong in power, what about 2 Wukongs? 3 Wukongs? A billion Wukongs. Goku also has literally no way to kill Sun Wukong when the guy has multiple different kinds of immortality, all of which are superior to the kinds of immortality that are found in Dragon Ball. Before Buddhahood, it's a much closer fight. Pretty much any Goku after the Cell Saga would probably be able to beat pre-Enlightenment Wukong, but only including that version of Wukong just to give Goku the win is completely unfair to Sun Wukong, as well as Journey to the West in its entirety. Listen, I love Goku, I love Dragon Ball, but in comparison to the original, Kakarot comes off like a cheap knockoff. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. As always, thank you to my members who got to see this video early, and as always, if you disagree with my takes, let me know how I was wrong in the comments down below. See ya.